Hey guys, welcome to the Marissa Effect, the podcast where real talk meets deep connection. I'm your host, Marissa, and around here we are all about honest conversations, fresh perspectives, and living a life that feels aligned, inspired, and unapologetically you. Whether we are diving into relationships, wellness, or those aha moments that shift everything in life, this is your space to grow, laugh, and feel seen. I'm so happy you guys are all here with me, so let's go ahead and get into it. Guys, welcome back to the Marissa Effect. This week, I'm super excited because I get to show you my new additions to the office where I shoot the podcast. I made the couch completely, well, the couch is great, but I purple galored it. I got all different shades of purple throw pillows. I got a heart throw pillow that I love. And I even got a picture to hang above the couch that's blends all the purples in. It's like a lavender, a darker purple, a softer, light, whitish type of purple. I even got a lavender throw blanket. So I'm just like purpled out in here and I'm super excited about it. It kind of makes me want a podcast now because I'm not going to lie, I changed my podcast setup room and it wasn't really inspiring me to record. It just didn't feel like my vibe. You know what I mean? But it's all coming together. Each week is like a new addition, and I'm proud of it. But this week, I'm going to do another solo episode. So it's only me this week, and I wanted to talk a little bit about like what's popping up and on theme for me from just like things I'm experiencing and things that I'm hearing from friends and stuff. There's just like certain things that I feel like are coming up. Aside from which, I also wanted to share some other stories, or not really stories, like memories. Like I went to an event and something happened to me major and it was connected to the growth and the startup of this podcast. So I really wanted to kind of get that out there and talk with you guys about it. So welcome to this week's solo episode. One of the things that were coming up this week, first of all, I don't know about you, but this year, I have been more introspective than I've ever been so far, like in my life. I feel like I've always kind of been like that, but this year I have been honing and deep diving into it more than I ever like intentionally. I'm trying to say, like now I'm like really finally not like learning that I can't run from this anymore or pretend it doesn't matter to me. I care about my mental health. I meditate now. I mean, I'm not good at sitting in silence, but I do my guided meditations, and I'll talk to you about like the programs that I'm using because I really do think they're affecting me in a positive way and having a great impact on my life. But I'm going to, I don't know. I just feel like this year is just forcing me, and I don't know if it's because of the podcast and the fact that we're having guests on here and we're hearing stories, and some of them are vulnerable, some of them are funny, you know, some are just like, wow, they're all just so different, you know? So I don't know, like a part of that is probably opening me up too, and I hope it's opening up you guys as well. But anyway, this year, I have realized that it's undeniable. I live and breathe spirituality. I started going back to church. I'm so intentional about getting those DIs in, which are those guided meditations that I've told you about in the past. And they help kind of slow my mind down, and I drift off into like this imagery state. And it's science backed. It's like binaural beats too. So binaural beats are playing in the background, and then they're guiding me, the voice, like somebody's talking in a recording, and they guide you, and your brain sort of just drifts away. And then you start changing your thoughts pattern. It's very interesting. And that has been helping me. So I did print out an outline, and I want to stick to it because I go off on a tangent. Also, Mercury is in retrograde, and if you listened to Caitlin's episode last week, you notice that, like I said, a lot, and I lost my track of thought. I can't stay focused, and I think it is Mercury being in retrograde. It's got to be, because at work, anything, even my workouts, I'm just like, okay, let's get up and do something different. I can't stay focused. Looking in the camera right now, guys, and seeing all the purple pillows and everything, it just makes me so happy. Just, I don't know. Doesn't purple make you feel calm? It makes me feel calm. It's my favorite color, obviously. So let's get into it. Lately, I have been having conversations with my friends, and I have been experiencing this too. And I've experienced this probably my whole life, where I don't feel like I am enough. And it's odd because my friends are using the word enough without me even sharing what I'm thinking about. They're saying it from things that are going on in their life. And then I'm reading self-help books. I love those because I just really always believe like I'm on like a journey to get better and better and better and just know yourself better. But those books are even talking about a common theme in just like being a human, we struggle with feeling enough. It's so common. And I don't know if we talk about that enough. And I know that when we do talk about it, a lot of people, I don't know, they run to almost fix it, the thought patterns. It's like, oh my gosh, you are enough. And we are all enough. But I think for me, I wanted to really get down to the root of why don't I always feel like I'm enough? Like in certain situations, I feel fine. And in other situations, I don't. And why? And I really want to get clear on that why. So when I was talking to my girlfriend on the phone, we were chatting and she was just like, I'm struggling. I don't ever feel like I'm enough for my daughter. I don't ever feel like I'm enough, in my marriage. I don't ever feel like I'm enough to hang out with friends because my energy is scattered. And she just, she's struggling devoting her energy and, in different places. And she wants to put them all in equal categories. And sometimes they just can't be in equal categories. And there's something to be said about that. So the word enough is a big theme for me this week. And I'm really, really, really trying to be aware when it pops into my life and get clear on where the hell did this come from and why am I not feeling this way? Why am I feeling like I'm not enough? This segues into what happened this past week. I went to a health and wellness event. My friend invited me. She was volunteering at this health and wellness event, and it was a big, big, big event. And I can't pronounce the word. It's like a Greek word. Eudaimonia, I think it's called. But it's new. This is the second year that West Palm Beach offered it, and my friend was asked to volunteer it, and she came home and she was telling me she was doing this, and I'm like, that's kind of crazy. I see it on Instagram and all my favorite doctors are going. And this friend, doesn't follow the doctors as much as I do. I'm always kind of sharing these profiles with her along the way. And she was like, you really should go. And I was like, okay. And so she got me in. She got me in to volunteer. So I volunteered the last day. And something inside me told myself, I'm supposed to go to this. Just go to this. Cancel whatever you had to do and just go. So I went. And it was crazy to hear these voices, these profound voices, speak before you on a stage. I was just like, this is like my podcast coming to life in one big, huge, large place. So Dr. Mark Hyman was there. Emily Morse was there. So many people. Andrew Huberman was there. There were so many people there. Gabby Reese. These are all big voices that I listen to, and I listen to all of their podcasts. So I am a big Emily Morse fan. She is the host of Sex with Emily podcast. And the Sex with Emily podcast is the reason why I even fell in love with listening to podcasts, period. And that happened 8 years ago. 8 years ago. I don't know how it really was. I think it was because her page was popular and circulating Instagram that I came across some quotes or phrases that she was posting and I liked them. And then I realized she also has a podcast just by looking at her bio. I think that's how I found her podcast. And I was listening to her podcast. And back then, 8 years ago, I'm not going to lie, I was like a little embarrassed to even tell people, like, yeah, listen to this sex podcast, because it was an educational based podcast. But I don't know. I'm not an open book like that. I'm very, very private. So I don't like all that attention going my way. I've always struggled like this. I've always admired the people who could like openly talk about sex and joke about it. And I want to be like that one day. And I don't know, it just doesn't, I get awkward. So I never wanted to tell anybody that I was listening to this podcast. And not only was I listening, but I was loving everything she had to say. Literally I've bought so many sex toys and vibrators because of her recommendations. And she's great, and they're all body safe. And I just really, really, really trust, her knowledge and the community she's built. It's just empowering. So yeah, so for years and years and years, I never missed an episode. I always tuned in. I loved the dynamic and the talks that she would have with her guests. And a lot of people back then were phoning in, and they were asking her questions that they really wanted to, ask, because they were struggling with their partner and how to communicate about, sex showing up in their relationships. And she would help these people navigate these uncomfortable moments for them. And she was creating space for them, one, to talk and, exercise different like fantasies or something that maybe a need that they needed to meet and they didn't know how, because maybe they were struggling with all sorts of things, like just feeling embarrassed that, they had these needs, or maybe they didn't think their partner wanted that. Like, just everybody, everybody's on their own journey with that. So she was helping them navigate. And just through hearing these stories, I was like, oh my gosh, this is sometimes me. So she was teaching me a wealth of knowledge. So then years later, she wrote a book called Smart Sex. I bought it, I read it, loved it. So I saw that she was on the list of guest speakers to go to, I think it's Udimonia or Idimonia. I don't know. Don't quote me on the pronunciation. But she was there. And I told my friend, I was like, okay, I'm going to bring the book, and if I don't see her, I don't see her, but I'm putting it out there that I really want to see her, and she's going to sign my book. And I didn't see her for like the whole day. And it's hard to find the doctors because they do walk around the crowd, but the place is really busy. It's at a convention center. So we're walking down the hallway. This is the end of the day. I'm like really tired too. And I see this stylish brunette woman walking towards me. And I go to my friend and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's her. Remember that my friend doesn't know all of these doctors. So this was like like these people are famous. They're like celebrities to me. So I never really approached a celebrity before. That was my first time ever. And I really thought I was going to be normal about it, but no. So I go up to her and I'm like, oh my gosh, hi. And I don't even think I was making full sentences. I was stuttering kind of like I am now. And all of a sudden emotions just like came over me. And then my eyes started to well up, and all I could say to her was, I've been following you for 8 years. 8 years is so long, and you just have such an impact on me. And I think a part of that impact is because I kept it private. I wasn't even sharing that the resource, like knowing her page and how much I've learned with my friends, because I was always like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I was like this, but it helped me. And now I'm saying it loud and proud. Her platform has helped me. So she sees my eyes well up, and she gives me the biggest hug ever. And she's like, oh, honey, like, I'm so grateful I'm meeting you. It was almost like we knew each other. It was like a perfect awkward moment, if you've ever been in one. Like, I felt awkward because I knew my behavior was awkward, like crying in front of this girl, not making complete sentences. But she's just so like empathetic and caring. So she gives me a big hug, and I still can't formulate my sentences correctly. And we sit down and she signs my book. And I'm like, I just hope you know that, you got me into liking a podcast. And she's like, oh, cool. And then I realized, Marissa, she doesn't understand that. Like, what does that mean to you? So I said, the thing is I had started a podcast a couple months ago. I'm sharing with her. I said, I started a podcast a couple months ago. And when I think about what made me fall in love with podcasts, I think of your podcast. And my topic, of course, is not sex related, but it's still like, because I heard guests on your podcast, or I heard people phoning in and talking about, relatable topics, I'm inspired because I know how much of an impact your voice and other people's stories can have. And so she wrote my book, and I did share that on social media. And I was just like, this is the most perfect moment ever. And I was embarrassed because I was like, I wish I didn't cry. I wish I could just talk to her like a normal professional. I really want and aspire to get myself to a place where I am able to be in these settings naturally with these people who've created these big, large platforms, and I could just talk to them. And not talk to them so much like fangirl based, but like, like your hard work, my hard work. Like, I didn't want to geek out like a little fan, So I was like being really hard on myself. Anyway, the next day after we left, I collected my thoughts and I reached out to her again. I wrote in the DMs and I said, thank you so much for signing my book. I just really wanted to articulate my thoughts, and I'm sorry that I got emotional in front of you, but your podcast really helped me, and it made me fall in love with podcasts. And I explained it to her a bit more in detail. I wrote her like a paragraph. I didn't want to be too much reading. And she wrote back something so strong and profound to me. And I hope and wish I can have this influence and impact on somebody's life one day. But you know what she wrote to me? She wrote, oh, honey, thank you so much for coming up to me. I'm so happy we met. I'm so inspired by you and what you're doing. Keep going. And she said, I know my work has helped many people. And that sentence alone, I mean, she said other things after that, but that sentence alone, I was like, wow. I mean, it's always great compliment to hear and have that reinforcement, but she has gotten to a place where she just knows like it's a need to talk about these topics, and it really has helped so many people. I mean, that was so strong and so confident, and she's so cute. Like, if you don't follow her, go and follow her. She's so cute. She dresses super cute. She talks about the quote unquote taboo topics, and she's teaching people along the way. So that's the part that I liked the most about her platform, because it wasn't so much about like talking, bragging about hookup culture, or, just talking about sex just to talk about sex. Like, there's real tangible substance to her podcast, and it's helping so many people. So that's what happened to me. And because I got emotional, I reflected hard on it, and I was like, why do I feel like, what was that? A part of me knew, because I knew how influenced I was once upon a time by her podcast. I know how much it meant to me meeting her. I was just like it was like, I know how she sounds on her podcast, and she showed up like that in real life. So it's like hearing people's voices on podcasts, you feel like you're a part of their world. And I felt like that when I met her 8 years later. I'm like, wait, this girl is organic, genuine. This is who she is. I'm being honest with you. A part of me felt like, am I enough? Am I enough to do a podcast? Am I enough to be in a space with all these big leaders and voices that they've done such profound work? Am I enough to be in a space like this? And I'm done feeling like that, because we are all enough. And it's that passion and that drive once upon a time that got Emily to doing the work that she has done. And it's a journey too, She has shared on a podcast, or it was an interview maybe, and she said, she's a little older now, but she said that she started a podcast at 35 years old because all of her friends were getting married and having kids, and that just wasn't falling on her lap and wasn't a part of her current journey at the time. And she was like, I realized there was a space to talk about these quote unquote taboo topics like sex, and she just gave herself that platform and she went with it, and it turned into something huge. So I had to remind myself of and be thankful for people who share their stories on the internet, because just because I have a large platform now does not mean they started that way. And because they share about how they, felt once upon a time when they were first starting, helps me kick back or fight against that enough feeling, because I do feel like an imposter or an amateur. Like, what am I doing starting a podcast? I don't even have this big following. The following I have are my friends and my family, and I'm inviting these guests, and I hope like they like it too, and these are all small limiting thoughts, and I want to start getting past that. And in order to get past that, I believe, is to talk and communicate and get vulnerable with people that you feel loved by and supported by. So that's why I wanted to share this with you, because enough is a theme word that I'm hearing from not only myself, but from others. And I want to start, instead of band-aiding it, I want to start getting to the root of why. Because the minute we do, I feel like the sky is the limit. The minute we get clear on why the hell we don't feel enough in that moment, sky's the limit after that. Like, it's that ego. I don't know why our ego is negative. It's there to protect us. But in the end, it's not really protecting us. It's keeping us small, and it's keeping us in fear. And fear is, a lot of the times, fear, the other side of fear is really, really where you want to be. And starting this podcast already taught me that. So it's so funny that as I keep growing and taping these recordings, I'm like, why is this part of my fight? But it is. It's a part of the journey. So I have to embrace the journey. I did really, really want to share that with you, because I don't know. Another thing though, and I think mostly my female friends tune in or females are listening, but I just got my period today, not to be TMI. So when I was there this weekend, I was PMSing. I was in my luteal phase, so I was super emotional, and that's just how I've been lately. I don't know. And I want to say that that narrative of I'm not enough comes in at super speed around my luteal phase, and that's when you got to be the strongest. Like, make sure you're eating right, make sure you're drinking enough water, staying hydrated, make sure you're going to the gym, hanging out with people that are mindful. Don't doom scroll. I'm not scolding you. These are things that I tell myself. Like, I have to be super intentional because I am so sensitive around that time. I really feel like if I met Emily Morris in 3 days after my period's done, I would be like, oh my gosh, hey, what's up? I am a big fan. I would have talked to her normal probably. So I don't know as females why we are up and down, but that's just how we are. And it's so important to support all of your needs along each and every cycle, and just embrace it. If you're going to be an emotional case one of the days and not feel like you're enough, it's a part of that up and down roller coaster. So just keep reminding yourself you're enough. And why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like this? Get clear on it. And it's, that part's hard. And I will tell you some tools that because I wanted to talk to you about this. Some tools that I have been using are, I have this Higher Self app. I think Marley Rose, I think her last name's Harrison or Harris. She created this app, and it's amazing. And she does askformation. So like when you're feeling like, why am I not feeling so pretty? You should come back to the universe and say, how do I look this good? Like, be like positive and put edginess to it. Ask the universe back, like, how is it so easy for me to be this pretty? You know what I mean? And then she says that trains the mind to think a different way. So it's like creating a new neural pathway. So her app is the little meditations. They're energetic, so they like lift my vibe up. I've been loving her app. And then of course I spoken about the other app, which is To Be Magnetic. The expanded podcast has a To Be Magnetic platform, and they have the DIs, which is Deep Imaginings, and I've been using that for years and years and years. And I will tell you, it has supported some of my lowest points. So I know for a fact that has been something that has had a huge impact on my transformation and on how I even feel about myself. So if you wanted to look for an additional resource, check out those apps, because I do think that they help support the mindset. Like when I'm telling you, change to find out the root of why you're not feeling enough. Those tools kind of force you to dig your way into finding that knowledge out. Kind of fascinating stuff, if you ask me. So yeah, I'm looking at my notes. Those are really the two major topics. I just wanted to come on here and be reflective, because a lot has come on, a lot has been in the air. A lot's been changing for me. And this week, to support my solo podcast, I want to make a reel of me just kind of talking. Maybe not take clips from this podcast, but like just make a fun reel. If you know me, I'm like quirky and funny and goofy, and I just want that out on the internet, because I just don't want to put something out there that I'm not. Not that I ever would, but I look at some reels, I'm like, wow, that is amazing. But like, I'm just not like get ready with me while I do my perfect skincare. Like sometimes I rush my skincare. So you're never going to learn how to do skincare from me, probably. I do my skincare and it's important to me, but a real skincare girl is probably going to be like, whoa, slow down with your steps, or I don't know what the hell. So no, that's probably not my thing, but I'm going to create some content, and I hope you guys like it. And it's something that's making me feel a little icky about, because I'm like, what am I doing? Just me putting something out there. Like, I got to get past that though. That's that fear. So that's my homework that's connected to this podcast, my solo podcast, because I make 3 clips for every guest that I have. So I don't know if I'll do 3 clips for myself, but maybe 2, and connect them to this solo podcast. And then from here on out, I kind of want to be getting creative about content creation. I've been learning so much about reels and transitions and lighting and coloring and how to be aesthetic and like brand aestheticness, if that's even a word. I've been learning so much. This has been a crazy learning curve. But one of my coworkers told me today, I like that you're doing this podcast because it gives you that creative outlet. I'm stuck in a school building all day long, and in my in particular building, there's no windows. It's like a very internal building. So I'm stuck in there all day. I love coming home and having these conversations and recording and getting creative. And as tedious as it is to make those clips, I love playing back the podcast, chopping it up and making a clip. I'm learning as I go, and even I compare my work to like a very already successful podcast. I'm like, wow, I suck. But you know what? I'm doing it all on my own. I'm self-teaching myself, and I'm really proud, because if you knew me last year, I was kind of lazy. Like I was like, yeah, I have this idea. I'm probably never going to get to it. Or if you told me this podcast was going to be a million bajillion steps and going to require you to redo your work a couple times, I would have been like, fuck no, I'm not doing this. But I'm here now. So I'm passionate about it, and I don't want to stop, and I'm learning. And when you learn, I do feel like that also is getting me from feeling unstuck. So another thing is, like, if you are feeling stuck, maybe go learn something. It teaches your brain to like fixate on something else, and usually a more positive outlet. So that, I guess, is my TED Talk for this week. I hope you liked it. I'm not going to keep you on here for too long, but thank you so much for listening. And if you feel like I resonated with you some way, somehow, or if you want the resources to the TBM community or the Higher Self app, I'm happy to share those pages with you because they have helped me tremendously. I know that they will help you. And I'm just happy to grow. So thank you again. And I will see you guys next week for another episode. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode on the Marissa Effect. This is where conversations stick, stories spark something real. If today's episode moved you, made you think, or gave you a little inspo, please share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It truly means the world. Until next time, keep showing up, stay curious, and remember your story has an effect too. See you next week.